In the deep woods, nestled in mist and mystery, stood an ancient hotel. Its stone walls hid silent secrets, and the past, like a patterned peacock, spread its feathers in every corner of the abandoned rooms. It was believed among travelers that the hotel was occupied by unclean forces, and anyone who dared to move its threshold risked his fate. One dusky fall evening, a couple of newlyweds, Michael and Kate, decided to spend their honeymoon at this hotel. They were so enchanted by its atmosphere of mystery that even hearing about its sinister reputation could not deter them. They were greeted with a friendly welcome, and as soon as they crossed the threshold, the doors slammed quietly behind them. On the first night of their stay, Michael and Kate decided to explore the hotel and its dark secrets. They broke into the ancient attic where the guest rooms had been located in the past. They soon discovered a secret passageway leading into the dungeon. As they descended deeper and deeper, the sound of water droplets accompanied them, and the walls became wetter and more lichen-covered. Finally, they emerged into a spacious room lit only by the dim light of candles. In the center was a massive wooden table, decorated with ornate patterns. On it lay an open book with cryptic symbols that Michael and Kate could not read. There was no way they could resist touching these ancient hieroglyphs. But when Michael put his hand on the page, the candlelight suddenly went out and the room went completely dark. They heard rustles and muffled voices around them, but they could see nothing in the darkness. Fear gripped Michael and Kate, and they tried to turn around and get out of the ominous room, but the door slammed shut with a crash. They found themselves locked inside with an unknown threat. As the voices grew louder, strange figures began to appear in the room, slowly materializing out of the darkness. Shadows with wriggling shapes danced in front of Michael and Kate, causing horror and awe. Suddenly, the voices turned into sinister laughter that filled the room. They heard words whispered in an unknown language, and a cold wind blew through the space, causing them to shiver. Michael and Kate realized that they were trapped, where every step could have cost them their lives. They tried to scream, but their voices were drowned out by the ominous chorus that filled the air. Finally, one of the figures came closer and began to slowly approach Michael and Kate. It was a creature with warped features and fiery eyes that emitted a sinister light. It raised its hand, and Michael and Kate felt their strength begin to leave their bodies. They struggled with the last vestiges of energy, trying to free themselves from this force that enveloped the hotel. Suddenly, at the most critical moment, the room was illuminated by a bright light, and the ominous figures vanished like fog before the wind. Michael and Kate found themselves in a room filled with soft light. They were relieved to know that they had survived and escaped the trap this sinister place had set for them. They were wounded and exhausted, but they moved determinedly toward the door, hoping to get out of the hotel and forget about this nightmare adventure. When they opened the door, however, an unknown corridor spread out in front of them, extending somewhere into infinity. Michael and Kate realized that the events taking place in the hotel violated the usual logic and laws of time and space. They had been consumed by the hotel, by its power and evil, and now they could not find a way out. As they wandered the dark corridors of the hotel, Michael and Kate encountered many ghosts and ominous phenomena. They saw shadows slithering across the walls, heard cries and moans that filled the air, and felt the cold touch of unseen forces. Each step they took brought them to a new place, a new room, where ominous stories played out before their eyes. They encountered ghosts, cursed objects, and even the living dead brought to life in the lifeless corridors of the hotel. The hours stretched on endlessly, and Michael and Kate began to lose hope of escape. They could feel the power of the hotel consuming them, pulling them deeper and deeper into its abyss. Whether it was their fantasy or reality, they were gradually losing control of their thoughts and feelings. But it was at the most desperate moments, when Michael and Kate had already resigned themselves to the thought of their inevitable doom, that they discovered an ancient ritual that could break the hotel's curse and free them from its influence. Michael and Kate decided to follow the ritual's instructions and find the necessary items that were scattered throughout the hotel. They conducted their search, wary of the ominous apparitions and ghosts that tried to hinder them. With each item they found, they felt the power of the hotel begin to wane. They gathered an ancient amulet, a locket of enchanting stones, and a scroll of spells, no matter the trials and dangers. Michael and Kate were determined and continued on their way no matter what. Finally, they reached the hall where the ritual was to be performed. Here, before them, opened a portal to the world of darkness that the hotel held subordinate to itself. They placed the found objects around the portal and began to recite spells from the scroll, investing all their hope in its power. The air around them began to freeze, and the ground beneath their feet trembled. The darkness disappeared, replaced by light, and the walls of the hotel began to crack. The spell created a magical protection that allowed Michael and Kate to escape the embrace of the hotel and return to the real world. They opened their eyes and found themselves lying on the floor in an abandoned hotel room. Their hearts were beating fast and sweat was oozing down their foreheads. They realized that they had managed to defeat the curse and survive. After leaving this hotel, Michael and Kate decided never to return to this place of horror. They left it behind and sought to build their own happy and safe lives. Years later, the hotel's past still haunted Michael and Kate in their nightmares. They could never completely forget the horrors they had lived through, and sometimes saw ghosts and heard whispers reminding them of those events. One day when they were on vacation on the coast, they noticed a familiar abandoned hotel on a hill. The ominous old hotel proved to be an attractive source of curiosity for Michael and Kate. They decided that maybe they could understand and overcome their fears by coming face to face with the past. They entered the hotel, and each dusty old room reminded them of the past, of their own adventure. As they explored the corridors, they noticed that the hotel had changed. The sinister figures and sounds were gone, and in their place they encountered restoration work and attempts to restore the place to its former glory. They met a young artist who was painting portraits of guests. He offered to paint Michael and Kate, and they agreed, wanting to capture the moment. While the artist was painting, he began to tell the history of the hotel. It turned out that back in the day, the hotel was indeed cursed, and its past was filled with horror and misfortune. However, after many years, people began to look for ways to break the curse, and the artist was one of those who decided to restore the hotel and deal with its evil. Michael and Kate were struck by this story. They realized that the hotel they had visited years before was in the process of purging itself of its past and restoring its virtuous essence. Their adventure helped awaken the hope and strength that helped the hotel overcome its dark legacy. When Michael and Kate's portrait was finished, they decided to ask the artist some more questions about the process of restoring the hotel. The artist explained that overcoming the curse required collecting special artifacts, performing a cleansing ritual, and laying a new foundation based on goodness and light. They felt relieved and grateful to the artist. that he was able to restore the hotel to its former beauty and rid it of its sinister aura. Michael and Kate realized that their adventure in the hotel had been part of this process and that they had witnessed the transformation of the place. Despite all the dangers, upon leaving the hotel, Michael and Kate felt their fears disappear. They were able to overcome their dark memories and find peace and quiet in their souls. The adventure boosted their confidence and helped them realize a strength they had not noticed in themselves before.